Hey, I'm Jessica, your Customer Education Specialist at REI Sift. We have some great news to share with you. Last week over our quarterly meeting, we asked users for input on what they would most like to see in their account or added to their account. And we looked at those and picked a few that we thought we could implement quickly. So today I want to talk to you about our brand new filters. We have an exhausted owners filter and a phone status combination filter where you can filter by any combination of phone statuses that you would like to. All right, let's dive in and take a look. All right, so before we dig in on how to filter exhausted records and how to use our phone status combination filter, first let's talk about what are exhausted records. Exhausted records are records in which none of the phone numbers that you have for an owner are reaching their intended recipient. So this can happen if all the numbers are dead, wrong, DNC, or if you've completed a certain number of marketing attempts, let's say 5 cold calling attempts, and just none of the numbers are reaching the homeowner. So why is that important? Why have our users asked us many times for an exhausted filter? Because then you have the insight into those numbers to know, hey, maybe I don't want to send them into more cold calling campaigns because these numbers are not reaching the homeowners. I can decide, do I want to skip trace them again somewhere else? Do I want to start sending direct mail? Do I want to move them into deep prospecting? So having these filters enables you to increase the insight and clarity in your data and find the best path forward. All right, let's dive in and see how we find those exhausted records in REI Sift. All right, so here we are on our dashboard page. We would go to our records page and begin filtering. So we're going to start here on our dashboard page, and then we're going to go to our records page. I have uploaded a special list into my REI Sift account just for this video. And this list is famous houses. You would want to filter by the list that you have been marketing to. And so you might notice some famous names on here. Comment down below if you recognize any of these addresses. All right, so what we did was we created this file because YouTube doesn't like to see addresses for some reason. So we created a special list to be able to go over this with you. All right, so let's say I have been doing some marketing with this list. I've been doing a bulk cold calling campaign. Now this could work for any type of marketing you've been doing, whether it's cold calling, SMS, niche sequential, but for the purpose of today and my filters, I'm gonna do it like it was a cold calling campaign. So what happens when, like let's just open a record here, I have only one number for this record and it was a wrong number. Do I want to continue sending this record into a cold calling campaign or into SMS? Definitely not, right? So I want to be able to find all of the records in my account that are exhausted. So with that goal in mind, we actually created these 2 filters. One is pretty simple. It's an exhausted owner's yes or no. So let's start with that one. I'm going to click filter records, and I'm still filtering by this list, and I'm going to search here for the exhausted owners filter. This is simply a yes or no. So if I select yes, I apply this filter, and you can see that out of that list, there are 6 records that would be considered exhausted. So when we filter by exhausted, we often want to combine that with marketing attempts because in this filter, we are including records that have a status of no answer. So I'm going to combine this with marketing attempts. So because I mentioned cold calling, I'm going to go to call attempts and do 5 attempts or more have been done. I'm going to apply that filter. And so all of these records, I've done 5 cold calling attempts and I have not reached the intended recipient. So if we look at some of these, you can see, for example, this one has a wrong number, dead number, wrong number. This one has a wrong number only. This one has no answer, wrong, wrong. Now, the filter, I'm going to tell you exactly what this filters by, the exhausted yes or no, but we included no answer with the idea that we're combining it with marketing attempts. So if I've tried to call this number 5 times and have not gotten an answer, it's maybe not the best number for that person, so I may want to skip trace again or move into another process. All right, so that's keeping it pretty simple. Exhausted owners, yes or no. What exactly is that exhausted yes or no checking for? So let's look at I'm going to add another filter block, and let's look at our phone status combination filter. And I'm going to show you how you would create the same thing as an exhausted yes with the phone status combination so you know exactly what that yes is looking for. So if we were to do not include correct number phone number statuses, correct DNC phone number statuses, or records that have no or phone numbers that have no status. And then because if I got the correct number, I reached the intended recipient. So I'm going to not include that. If I don't have a status, maybe I haven't marketed to it yet, so I'm not going to include that. And I'm going to include wrong, wrong DNC, no answer, dead, and DNC. So I'm going to remove the exhausted yes. This filter will give me the exact same results because that is the same thing as exhausted yes. Exhausted yes is a shortcut for this combination. So let me apply that, and you can see that I still have these same results. The reason we created the phone status combination is because it has a lot more applications, right? You can do the same exact filter, or you could alter it slightly and not include the ones that have no answer. I could choose to not include no answer. So you can adjust it specifically for your records, right? That's one reason why we created it. So if I apply that, I only have 4 that meet that criteria because the other records had some no answers statuses on there. This filter you can combine many different ways, but I'd like to point out a little bit of how it functions. So you'll notice at the bottom that it has all phones or at least one phone. If you select all phones, that means every phone number on the record has to have a status. And it must be one of the statuses you selected. So all of the phone statuses on that record have to be wrong DNC, wrong, dead DNC, and you can't have the red statuses, right? If you select at least one phone, so let me show a simple filter here. If you select at least one phone includes correct, this will return records in which at least one phone number on the record is correct. Doesn't matter what the other statuses might be, at least one phone number on the record is correct. That's important to have because you want to be able to find those homeowners you have a correct number for, right? Now, we need to understand the difference between at least one phone and all phones. If I were to change this to all phones are correct and apply it, you can see I don't have any results here because none of the records that I am filtering by had only one phone number that was correct, or all the phone numbers on the record are correct. So it's important to know the differences. Now that we've talked about how to find exhausted records in your account and how these filters function, I just want to make sure you understand the treasure trove that you're unlocking in your account. You know, when we first released this feature to beta, Tyler implemented this filter in his account and found over 1,500 records that are exhausted. So when you find out how many there are in your account, you get to decide what you want to do next. Do you want to skip trace them again with another provider? Do you want to start sending direct mail? Or the ones that are really in the areas you're interested in, do you want to start deep prospecting? Those of you who don't know what deep prospecting is, that's when you dive in, do a deep dive on those records. You're looking them up on the owners on Facebook. You're finding family members' phone numbers. You're calling grandma and saying, hey, have you heard from Johnny lately? And that is where often a huge treasure chest is hidden because nobody else is taking the time to do that. Even the direct mail list. We've marked the spot for you. You're going to dig in and you're going to find the gold because nobody else knows that the best way to reach those people is by sending direct mail or doing deep prospecting. What I'd love for you to do is comment down below and tell me how many exhausted records you found in your account, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you want to know more about exhausted records and some of the use cases for these records, dig into our Help Center article. It will be linked down below, and reach out if you have any questions.